Wednesday morning class with Professor Tim. Today we went over a guard called Riva. So I said yesterday that guard is when you are sitting and your opponent's standing over you. Or actually, I said yesterday that's when your legs are in between you and your opponent. Today we started from standing, both of us standing, and then getting from both of us standing to where you are sitting, but you have your legs in between you and your opponent is called pulling guard. It's sort of a technique that's only used in jiu-jitsu because in pretty much any other combat sport, it's bad to be on the ground while your opponent's standing. So, Riva is when one of your legs is outside of your opponent's legs, and then you have a hook. Your foot is hooked in behind his knee, and then your other leg is across his body. So, in this example, my left leg is outside of his right leg, and my left toes are hooked into the back of his left knee, and then my right foot is across the body against or outside of his left hip. And this allows you to off balance him, allows you to distance control. The thing that I said in class is that you sort of always need to be in motion. You can't really be static here because your opponent will eventually get through it. And the point of this, just like almost any technique of jiu-jitsu, is to force your opponent to do a move that you can respond to. The teacher said today that you constantly want to present your opponent with dilemmas, and then so you're funneling them into specific responses which you already have a response ready for. And I guess saying that they're dilemmas means that they actually have to sort of think about it, right? And if they think about it, then they'll be slower than you because it'll take them longer to react. So forcing them into choices where they're compromising is again a main point of jiu-jitsu. One other thing is that I said the guard we worked on today is called Riva. It's actually spelled Riva, but I don't know if it's a Portuguese thing or a Brazilian thing. Whenever a word starts off with R, it's pronounced as an H sound. So the gym I go to is called Renzo Gracie. It's spelled Renzo Gracie, and then everyone's name, like a ton of people's names start with an R, but they're just pronounced with like an H. So there's Hobson, Hoyce, and then outside of our gym also there's a bunch of people. There's a famous jiu-jitsu player named Roger Gracie, or Padre Gracie, spelled Roger Gracie. So I don't know if that's a Brazilian thing or a Portuguese thing, but if you're ever confused why something's pronounced that way, then if you're confused when you hear something like that, that's why it's pronounced that way. That's it.